Hi, I'm Reverend Nori Atwood. Thank you so much for joining us this morning for worship, or later in the day if you're watching this back. We're glad to have you at any time. I'll start you off with a few announcements about what we've got coming up over the next couple weeks. Pastor's Bible study started last Wednesday. It's back up and rolling. Every Wednesday at noon to 1, bring your own lunch, come and study, get a little more in depth about what Mitchell will be talking about on Sunday morning. We're also doing the point and time count on January 23rd. This is a count that every city around the country does. It's part of a program from the federal government to know how many homeless people are living in each city. They specifically do it during the wintertime because they want it to be a little bit chilly. They want as many people in shelters as possible because it's easier to count the number of people who are already in the shelters than people out on the street. But they send volunteer teams out to every single part of the city to count the number of people who are living on the street in the city, and then they use that to determine a lot of federal funding, where they want to focus their resources, what cities have been doing well at reducing homelessness, and what cities still have some work to do. So there are a couple different ways to volunteer for that. You can volunteer, sign up just for the count, and go out with a team of people to do that. Or we're doing the pre-meeting before people leave for the count here at First, and that's going to be at 5:30. So you can come and just do the pre-meeting and help greet people, and we're going to have hundreds of people here for that count. So just to make sure that everything goes well with people coming into First, so you can volunteer those two different ways, and you can find more information about both of them on the website. And then lastly, we've also got our queer theology class that's starting on January 27th. It's going to be around 4 Mondays, 7 p.m. We've got Monica Frazier will be leading it along with her wife, Lolly Eckenberger. And they are going to be teaching about queer theology a little more in depth than we did at our inclusive faith study last year. Get into the nitty gritty of what it means to be a queer theologian. It's open for all people. We really want everyone to learn, get a little more in depth. And now I'm going to bring in my co-host for this episode, my guest for the episode, I guess, if you will, Aaron Randall Sosa. Aaron, how are you doing?
I'm doing excellent, Roy. How are you?
I'm doing well. We're riding high a little bit after last week's. We got Modern up and going. We had a good service upstairs, and it's weird to do. We're doing two things at once. We're doing it forever now.
It's true. Yeah, we all have a little bit of a glow on us today.
Yes.
After Sunday. But then it hit me today that the real work is just starting.
Yeah. I listened to a segment about Buc-ee's once on the news. And they were like, and when it opens on Thursday, it'll be open forever. And I just I saw my life flash before my eyes. Like, this Buc-ee's location is going to outlive me because this location was open 24/7.
If we're lucky.
Yeah. So the modern worship service is going forever. It's going to outlive all of us.
It's going to be Sunday to Sunday. It's always around the corner.
So speaking of last Sunday, Mitchell started off our Waitlist series talking about anger and letting go of anger. What did you think of the sermon?
I thought it was really well handled on a topic that can be very tricky for people. On one end, you can totally invalidate people's anger and say that the response is unnatural or ungodly in some way. And that's not really the approach that Pastor Mitchell chose to take. Instead, he leaned in to the double-edged sword that anger can be. On one hand, it can be an instrument for justice and reconciliation. And on the other, it can be divisive and corrosive.
Like, there are things that should make you angry.
Oh, 100%.
Like, I was thinking about just a lighthearted topic of the war in Gaza. Like, the terrorist attack on October 7th, I believe it was, should make you angry.
Oh, 100%.
And then the response that has killed a number of innocent Palestinians should also make you angry. Like, there are things that we learn from our anger.
Right, and I think Pastor Mitchell wasn't saying that you can't be angry.
Right, I agree. I think he's saying that
but that your anger can propel you forward.
Yes, and that there are a number of ways that we are inappropriately angry.
All the time.
I actually, on Sunday evening, had an opportunity to practice what Mitchell preached.
Oh, do tell.
Yes. So our dog loves being out on the balcony, and she's a monitor. She loves seeing what's going on. And sometimes when we're on the 6th floor, and sometimes when a dog walks by on the sidewalk, she'll bark at it, as dogs do. And she likes to get up on her hind legs and put her front paws on the railing of the balcony, like she's a human being looking out over. And it can make people nervous a little bit that she's, so close to. But it's really only her head that's over. She couldn't really go anywhere. But so this woman, sort of like this stereotypical Eastern European angry, just older angry person that's been through so much and is just angry about everything, started yelling up at us, saying that she was gonna call the cops and animal control because dogs can't be on the balcony. And as someone who lived in New York for 5 years, I got very good at snapping back at people. Because you kind of, in some ways, have to get by.
A little cold weather culture.
Yes, exactly. And I was just trying to be the most gracious person. I said, "Oh, thank you. You have a good night. Have a good night." And I was like, "Okay, I did it."
Yeah.
I did. And Mitchell's sermon at least lasted 12 hours in my brain of not being angry and just letting her have her own thing and being kind.
Yeah, it makes you squirm a little bit when you sit through a sermon like that, and so the residual impact tends to linger around.
Yeah, because you're like, some sermons they're like, oh, this is about somebody else, and some sermons are like, oh, this one's about me.
Yeah, this one's about me.
Okay, so we're trying to know our guests a little bit, and I wanted to know if you have any New Year's resolutions this year.
Okay, yeah, so this is a tough one. I stopped doing New Year's resolutions a couple of years ago, not really for any philosophical reason. I think just pure laziness and not wanting to be disappointed.
Yeah, because a lot of times, what was it, like January 11th or something, like was National Quitting Day, because this is like the day that most people give up on their New Year's resolutions. Like they don't
need to put that on my calendar.
Yeah, exactly, right?
Yeah.
So what sort of resolutions did you used to have?
Yeah, so what I found, and this is really what I probably should start doing again, was that resolutions that are based on kind of like soft qualities are ones that work better for me. So instead of saying, I'm going to go to the gym every single day, or I'm going to eat this exact food, I'm going to say something along the lines of, I'm going to strive to make healthier choices once a week. And things that are give me a little bit of flexibility or not so rigid. Probably the most successful year I had, I just said, I want to be more kind. And for the year, I was kinder. I probably should have set that resolution the following year too.
You were really rude, and then you had a kind year, and then it's just back down the hill.
Yeah, the people who love me didn't know what to say.
They're like, wow, this year you've been a changed man.
Yeah. Don't get used to it.
Yeah, we've been talking on a couple episodes of 3A about like doing things that are attainable and focusing on growth instead of just something specific that you're going to let yourself down. Like give yourself a goal that you can reach, and that even if you aren't on it 100%, that you're like, well, I'm going to be kinder, and you find the instances of, yeah, I did do that a little better. I did do that a little better, and don't expect yourself to be like 100%.
Yeah, little success is motivating, and it compounds into greater motivation.
Yeah. Speaking of a little success, maybe a great success, what did you think about the first official Sunday of modern worship last week?
Yeah, I'm a little biased, but I thought it was really incredible.
What did you like about it?
Well, I think getting to walk into the room after greeting about 10 minutes into it and seeing all of the faces there and the chairs that were filled and the families with children, faces that I recognized, faces I didn't. It was just special to see people gathered together doing one thing in that room. I've been trying to conceptualize the launch of this modern worship service really as exactly what it is. The expectation is that we will worship together, and that there's not other expectations attached to that around success. But if you walked in and you felt the palpable joy and the energy that was there, I really think we hit it.
Yeah, we were almost running out of chairs.
Oh yeah,
it was full. I was really surprised, and you mentioned this, by the number of kids that were in the service.
There were a lot of young families that attended.
I counted at least 13 individuals who were clearly elementary school down to babies.
We might have to expand the kids' corner.
I think we do have to expand the kids' corner, because I was standing back there taking photos, and I was in all sorts of people's way, because there were so many people, coming in with strollers and babies on the, I don't know what to call it, but the little front backpack of a baby. Clearly, I don't have any children.
It's always precious to have kids in worship with you.
Yeah, and I think it is a sign that we've pitched it a bit in the right space, that this is a place that's welcoming and inclusive, and that people didn't feel like, oh, well, I need to put my kids somewhere else.
Exactly. Right. If the goal is to have a place where you feel like you can show up as yourself, you don't have to worry if your baby cries. You don't have to worry if your kids are wiggly or fidgety, the looks that you're going to get, that you really can show up as a family together. That's a real success. We have it in traditional, and I'm really glad that we have it now here in modern.
How do you think the band did?
Oh my gosh. Could you have asked for a better...
I know, they're really good.
Yeah, it's been really good getting to know all of the people that are in the band over the last few months. Obviously, I knew a couple people before they came on.
Where did these people come from? How did they come to First?
Yeah, so I actually know Adam from Uptown Church.
And Adam is the band leader.
Yes, he's our worship director.
Yes.
And he has many years of experience in the music industry. He's worked for large artists to indie artists. He does recording. He does real estate. He really does it all. But I think what's best about Adam is that his heart is exactly where we would want somebody's heart to be in the role that he is in. He's pastoral. He cares about the people that are walking through the door. He cares about the band members that play alongside with. He builds relationships. Just getting to hear some of their stories. This service is for them too.
Yeah, that's interesting. So besides Adam, how did these people come our way?
Yeah, we also have Rocky, who came in at the tail end of Uptown Church as well. She's got not just an incredible voice, but an incredible heart and a really great story. You'll have to have her on one day.
Yeah, we will.
To come and share as well.
And then everyone else is sort of rotating through, right?
We've got Joe, who's our guitarist, and a couple other people who rotate through. So it's good to see them each week, and as people come through once a month, twice a month, getting to know them as well is great.
Yeah. What are your expectations for the service going forward?
Yeah, I think our expectation is that we'll continue to reach the people that we created this offering for. Our belief was that there was this population in the DFW area who was looking for a service that was both contemporary and theologically progressive. And so we thought that if we would just build it, and then we would tap into the natural connections that came along with that we would find those pockets of people who may not know that this exists, who have been thinking to themselves, I really wish, sitting down with their partners, sitting down with their families and saying, I wish something like this existed. And we know they're there, and it sounds like we met them.
Well, because we've heard so many people, I'll speak for myself. I've heard of people who go to a contemporary worship service because they like contemporary style of worship and don't realize the theology that they're signing up for.
Oh, 100%.
And are like, when you point out like, hey, have you ever heard a woman do anything besides the announcements in that service? And they're like, oh, I didn't realize that. Like, that's what you're signing up for.
Probably even more surprising is that I've met people who do know what they're going for. I've met queer couples who go to churches that don't affirm them because they appreciate the style of worship and the emphasis on scripture and the way that we handle and teach from the pulpit. And so they'll go to a church that they may not feel totally welcome at and at home for the experience of a worship style that really that relates to them and they feel like they can encounter God in.
So we're trying to create as many places for people to encounter God in a worship service that welcomes and loves them for who they are.
Yeah, we're trying to get that Goldilocks service for a lot of these people.
Yeah, it sounds easy, right? Just the perfect service that meets everyone right where they need it.
Well, not exactly. I mean, we're always looking to figure out how to be more expansive and how to create lower barriers, a wider table, and change our language and change the way that we think about the people that walk through the door. We have assumptions that we carry with us all the time, and those assumptions are not always correct. So it's up to us to live and adapt and grow and change.
Speaking of living and adapting and growing and change, if that makes you nervous, today Mitchell's talking about anxiety and how we're letting go of anxiety. So
it's gone. I just did.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. So I hope you'll stick around for the service and learn how to just everything that's making you nervous or anxious, just let it go like a balloon. If you want to keep in touch and know what we've got going on around here, you can follow along our email newsletter, our social media, and the website. The events page on our website really will let you know what we've got coming up. We hope that you enjoy this worship service. Thank you so much for being with us today.